Item C, adopt a resolution approving design recommendation for the Culture and Arts Commission for a Centennial Art Project, authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Margarita Soifertis in the amount of $75,000 and designating $5,000 of the city art fund as a reserve fund for art maintenance. John.
There we go. Good evening, Mayor Wayne, members of the City Council. I'm John Alita. I'm the Assistant Community Services Director. I'm here tonight to represent the Culture and Arts Commission, bringing forward their recommendation of a design concept for a Centennial Art Project, and ask your authorization to enter into a contract with the selected artists. And in addition, a secondary request that there be an allocation from the City Art Fund to allow for repair of the city's inventory of existing public art. Before I get into the meat of the presentation, I just want to acknowledge the members of the Culture and Arts Commission that are here tonight. Chairperson Tammy Parker, Commissioner Melody Tobin, Commissioner Carolyn Livengood, and Commissioner Pamela Gamble. The artist is also here with us tonight, and after the presentation and the commissioner's few words, we will be able to have her talk a little bit more in depth about the concept. And just for the audience's knowledge, there is a concept drawing to the side of the dais, as well as a tile sample of the mosaic work that is being proposed. This item first came to the council in April of 2013 when you approved a project concept of a Centennial Art Project and a site location for that project. That site location is on Sneath Lane, and initially identified 4 retaining walls along the north side of Sneath between the 2 entrances of Claremont Drive. The project, though, has really devolved down to 2 of the wall segments, which are on the map and circled for your for ease of understanding. Those are the only 2 of the 4 that are being considered for the project. The council, after approving that concept of a Centennial Art Project and site, the commission then went back and developed a request for qualifications for an artist, and came back to the City Council in July 9th of last year to ask your approval of that request for qualifications and the project amount of expending up to $75,000 from the city's art fund in order to cover the costs of the project. After that RFQ approval, the commission advertised the RFQ for a period of about 6 weeks, solicited applications from all over the country. By the end of that process, 74 applications had been received. There was also a site visit for any interested artists to look at the site prior to the application deadline and to speak with staff or the commissioners more about what their intention was. The projects were, applications were measured against the basic criteria. 31 met that criteria and then were brought to the commission for their review. Those were then whittled down to a pool of about 9 semifinalists. Interviews were conducted with them, and of those 9, there were 2 that were felt to be closest in concept and idea to what the commission was seeking. Those 2 artists were asked to complete a scale model and drawing of their proposed idea, and that came back to the commission for evaluation. And after that process, the commissioners selected Margarita Soifertis as the artist that they would like to recommend for the Centennial Art Project. The project, as its name implies, is intended to serve as a lasting commemoration of the city's first 100 years since incorporation. So in addition to the request tonight that you authorize the city manager to enter into a contract for $75,000 with the artist, the commissioners are also asking that you, also recommending that $5,000 of the city's art fund be created as a set-aside so that repair work and maintenance work can be done on the inventory of the city's public art projects. As you know, this commission has been very successful with their projects, and the city has a growing body of them, and they want to make sure that they're maintained and repaired in a manner that keeps them looking beautiful within the city. The fiscal impact of the project, as I mentioned, there is $75,000 that's been approved in the 2013-14 operating budget for the project. That money would be expended from the city's public art fund. Maybe a little explanation for the public is always helpful. The city art fund is actually created by a small percentage of permit fees that are pulled, and they go into a fund that then builds and is used to create public art. So the fiscal impact is that expenditure, and right now the city art fund currently has a balance of $151,000. So the staff is asking for you to consider adopting that resolution, and I would like this time to ask Commissioner Melody Tobin and Chair Tammy Parker to come up and talk to you a little bit.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm Tammy Parker. I am the newly elected chair of the Culture and Arts Commission. It is our extreme honor to recommend this project to you for your approval. It has been a tremendous undertaking. The staff has just helped us in every possible way to put this project together. We're very excited about it, and I would like to pay tribute, if you will, to our commissioners in this journey because it has been challenging, and we certainly hope we've done our job right. As I would like to have Commissioner Tobin, say a few words because she was chair and head of this project from the start. So, Mel, please.
Thank you, and good evening. I can't believe it's been a year since we started this project, and we are close to the finish line. Hope that you will approve the project and the artists that we have selected and endorsed. As John outlined, we had a tremendous response of over 70 artists that were interested in working with San Bruno on this project. So it's been an exciting journey. John has done a tremendous amount of work honing down that list to the 30 most qualified that the subcommittee went through and honed down to 10 that we did interviews with. We have unanimously picked Margarita for our endorsement, and her project has been a work in progress since December. She's been very good about working with us on changes and transitions and how we see it evolving. The good news is she's very local. She is very flexible, and she's taken all our input with a lot of grace and always set her own priorities aside to fulfill our dream. And so this is 100 years of San Bruno, the progress of San Bruno in the past 100 years. It begins at the turn of the century. It begins actually with the Ohlone Indians. It moves on to the turn of the century into the progress of automobiles and airports, starting with Tan Fran, onto the racetracks, onto the San Francisco International Airport. It recognizes San Bruno Mountains, and on into the future. So if you have any questions for me, I can answer them at this time, or I can introduce Margarita Sofritas.
Margarita would be great, but I think what we need, the Vice Mayor and I have been kind of in depth with this on the subcommittee, so we're pretty familiar, but I don't think the rest of the council has had the opportunity to really see this. So
Okay.
Is there a way we can, also the public, we could get this maybe brought up to show and have a little explanation so that it can be
Sure.
shown on film on TV?
Sure we can. This work, to let you know a little bit about the medium of this work, is that this is a tile project that is going to be created off-site. And here is a representation of the tile. This is one of the figures from the turn of the century. These are individual tiles just like you would see tiling a bathroom. And some examples of what the art is. Through the trains, again, the turn of the century. We're using both positive and negative space, so the entire 2 retaining walls that we're working on, it will not be covered 100%. That would be impossible to do in our $75,000 budget. We certainly had artists that came back to us saying that they could do it more tiles or cover more area, but it was going to be more money. And we really wanted to be respectful of the budget that we originally set aside for the $75,000 and complete the project and be able to complete it in a timely manner. So you will see on the wall there's going to be tiles, and when we say negative space, there's area that will not be tiled. It will be painted in contrast so that it still is part of the art project and doesn't look like something that's unfinished. The entire 2 retaining walls that we are completing will look like a finished project. The other item that we're bringing before you is in anticipation, because this is a public road, and we know, as the chief pointed out last year, people do have a tendency to, swerve, especially if you're looking at some art. We want to set aside some money in a budget so that if there is a little fender bender or a little accident up here or to any piece of our art in the city, that we can repair it in a timely fashion so that it does not become a plight to the city.
Okay. And just for clarification, these are drawings of what they'll be made out of tile.
Correct. These drawings will be made out of tile. Again, they will be done off-site, so they will be done on big boards, and then they will be anchored and mounted to the walls. We are also going to be installing some lights so that there will be lighting coming from the top, looking down very much like a picture light and a very nice picture on your wall, a painting, so that they will be lit in the evenings. They're non-reflective tiles, so they won't be blinding anybody driving by or creating any type of hazard. And at the end, you will see where we have the commemoration of the Centennial, the 1914 to 2014, and that's the end of our journey. But we are showing the journey of the last 100 years.
Good. Any questions, Irene?
Melody, could you, those figures, how tall will they be?
They are about, well, not my life size, about life size, about 5 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
So this example of tile that we've brought for you is a very scaled down version, but they will be about 5 feet tall.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Any other questions?
Oh, I'm sorry,
Irene?
I thought of one. So what's the timeline if we approve this? What's the timeline for installation? And
After you approve this evening, luckily the artist again is local, and we plan to have installation in October and dedication in November. So well in time the anniversary.
Fabulous.
And again, if it wasn't for John and Carrie on our staff, this project could have been stalled as long as it took us to put the signs in the median on El Camino. It is amazing that we've gotten this far in a year, and we absolutely plan on finishing on time and on budget.
Great. Thank you.
Good. Any questions?
Through the chair, can you expand a little bit on the lighting? Is that going to require new conduit, and is that included in the price?
It's not included in $75,000, but we have included it in our working budget, and we have worked with city staff they have actually gone out to design the best way to light the area.
If I could,
So I was going to say, I don't have all the technical.
if I could interrupt for a
aspects.
moment, sorry, Melody.
No.
This is an item we're aware of. We will be returning to council on this specific issue. Staff did meet early on from various departments to discuss what additions might need to be made to the project for safety reasons and for anti-vandalism measures. And so one of the things that did bubble up to the surface was lighting. So I have been working with engineering staff on what exists at that site and how what might be involved in drawing down manpower if necessary to do that. We're still in the phase of exploring and finding out what exactly we need. So what I can tell you now is that we will be having a more concrete picture of what actually exists out there, and then be able to come back to the council with some options for what might be feasible, and also with some cost estimates for that. But we wanted to make sure the project itself got done, and so if the lighting has a somewhat parallel track, we feel that that would be sufficient to meet the needs of the project, whether it's before the dedication or somewhat after. Does that answer your question?
Sure, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, our artist, Margarita, is here tonight, and again, she's local, Mountain,
No, I'm in San Francisco now.
San Francisco. Oh, even more local.
Yeah.
So she, as part of the creative process, as we come across wants and needs, she has been very flexible and is open to everybody's input, and it will continue to be a work in progress over the next several months.
Hello, everybody, and I'm really honored to stand here and present my project. Basically, it's been already presented. I just want to add a couple of things to my concept idea of floating shapes, as you could see on the boards, especially if they will put together, because it's two walls which continue each other along the roadside, and the challenges were to create artwork which actually will be landmark and highlight of the road, but not distracting to the drivers. With that said, the shapes I choose to have on the wall are floating and curvy shapes to move along with your view. When you're passing by in the car, I drove a couple of times by the walls, and when you're passing by, I would like to create floating images and floating shapes that it would not be distracting to a driver. And to do the historical highlights, which we were talking about, also images on my sample has a tendency to have animated effect when you're passing by in the car or walking by on a bicycle. Your side vision registers the figures which all moving along the road. I don't know if I'm clear on explanations, but please feel free to ask questions. And mark major historical events during the past 100 years. The texture, as you could see on the samples again, it's colors which will highlight the area, but not, again, not distracting, organically moving into environment, which is earthy colors and greens, and if you remember the area, it's very green and park-like area. And I tried to do the shapes and images the way they will be organically moving in this environment.
Okay. Great. I know that you said the figures are diminished just for an example, but is that the physical size of the tiles?
Those are physical. This is a good question, because the tiles are glass tiles, and that's a physical size of the tile. But with the larger size of the artwork, it's blending together much better than on my sample.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions of the artist? I see we have a member of the public that has a question or a comment. Just tell us your name and your street.
Ariella Fiornelli, Plymouth Way. And my concern is more with the area you're putting it in. I understand this has been going on for a year, and this is the first I've heard of it. I live in that neighborhood. Thinking that it's not really the place to put something that should be public art, It's pretty much the entrance to a neighborhood, doesn't fit the character in the neighborhood. There isn't really any physical place you could stop and view that. You're just driving by in your car, there's no sidewalk there. Wouldn't this really be something that's more appropriate, maybe downtown, which is the historical area, City Hall, the park, or maybe even the BART station where people are coming into, San Bruno, and this is our history. And that's pretty much all I had to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Did you look at other locations, Melody, or?
We did, actually, when we started the commission 10 years ago, one of the first things we did as a group is we went out and found areas that we could designate for public art. It's a challenge to find areas that the city owns and has control over that we can put our art on, mount our art and have control over our art. As we learned very early on in working with Caltrans and putting something as simple as city markers at the beginning and the end of El Camino San Bruno, it is a challenge to work with another entity. So we targeted this retaining wall area specifically because of the city owns it, it's in good shape, it is a well-traveled area, and it is right now filled with graffiti. So we want to, one, target that, and by putting in public art, it is a known factor that the graffiti artists will respect the art and move on to another place. We also are going to be graffiti proofing the art so that if it is tagged at some point, it will be easily removed. We have been up a number of times, both the commission and staff, to walk the area. There is a sidewalk on the other side of the street, so you can walk the area and visit it and spend more time in viewing the public art. But our goal is that it's not going to be busy or distracting, that it's going to be something pleasant that you see as you're driving along, very much like other cities have done in underpasses. But this is going to blend more with the scenery. The colors will not be shocking, bright primary colors as you see in other cities where they do the underpass in bright yellows, bright reds. This will blend with the environment and not stand out like a sore thumb.
All right, thank you. I just want to mention, too, that this has been under discussion for a long time on the Cultural and Arts Commission meetings, and they're noticed just as all of our city commissions are. So, it's nothing done behind closed doors. It's been talked about for many, many months. I just want to make that clear. Any other discussion? Ken?
I had a concern when it first was proposed about how it might be distracting, in a good way. But now that I didn't even realize that there was a sidewalk across the street. And now that I see that it's going to be blended, it's not something that you might want to stop and read or something. So I think it's very appropriate. I think it's public art is an amenity. It's an enhancement. So it's better than nothing there. And I think it's appropriate because it is a well-traveled street that connects detached neighborhoods. And so other than, say, maybe San Bruno Avenue, where we've spent a lot of money in landscaping, here we don't have the ability to do that. And I think public art is a nice backdrop for that.
We anticipate and we hope that as it is a busy thoroughfare, that every time you drive through it, you'll discover something new in the art. Because you're certainly not going to go 15 miles an hour and see everything one time. We hope that every time you drive up or down Sneath Lane, that you notice something extra or something special or something else jumps out at you. Oh, there's the Posey Parade is represented in this. Oh, the Tan Fran is represented in this, when it was not only when it was an airport, but also when it was a racetrack. So it's an evolution of the city. The other reason that we selected this area is we have not done any art projects up in this area on the west side of 280 as of yet. So this is our first project on this side of San Bruno, and we certainly thought it was a good landscape to to apply the Centennial mural.
Okay.
I'd love to, thank you.
Resolution.
Add
Oh.
that I'm welcoming everybody. If you have a suggestion, what else should be included in the artwork to make neighborhood more tied to it, you're welcome to contact me or Melody.
Right, it is, as we said, the concept is complete, but it's a work in progress. So we can possibly make some additions or changes between now and the final product.
Good. Irene?
Thank you. I'm so proud of all of your commissioners. This is not easy to propose public art. It's always controversy. That's part of why we gave it to you guys to do. So I appreciate all your efforts. I know Carolyn Livingoods, who's here, has been a champion of bringing public art up to the west side of 280 for a lot of years. So congratulations that you're getting it done, and for the Centennial, so that's a double whammy for you. But for all the commissioners, it's really wonderful that you volunteer your time for this. It's a dream of mine that there'll be public art everywhere, and we'll have lots of controversy because that means people are paying attention. So with that, I'd like to introduce the resolution. Oh, and I'm sorry, and I just want to say I think it's very commendable of you to put the to suggest that you put the $5,000 aside. I think that's very foresightful.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Medina.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye. I want to thank the commission for all your hard work. I know it's been a lot of work over this last year, and staff too. You put in a lot of time. Thank you very much. It's going to be a lot of fun.